What if I told you that one of New York's tallest skyscrapers was once a ticking time bomb, designed so brilliantly that one minor oversight almost caused it to collapse, and nobody knew until it was nearly too late? Let me take you back to 1978. A year after a new architectural marvel pierced the Manhattan skyline, a man named Bill LeMessurier, the structural engineer behind the project, received a phone call that would haunt him. At the time, the Citicorp Center was hailed as one of the boldest skyscrapers ever built. It had to be. It was built not just around, but over a church. Yes, a 9-story glass and steel giant floating above a small corner chapel. To make that happen, LeMessurier's team designed a tower that stood on 4 massive stilts, oddly placed at the center of each side rather than at the corners. It was daring, elegant, unprecedented. But bold ideas often carry bold consequences. LeMessurier's solution to supporting this strange structure was genius. He used diagonal braces known as chevrons to transfer the building's immense load down into those stilts. Everything had been calculated with precision, or so he thought. One afternoon, he got a call from a student, just a student, who had questions about the building's wind resistance. That call made LeMessurier pause. It made him think. And then it made him panic. You see, skyscrapers sway. Engineers account for that using complex wind simulations. But in reviewing his own numbers, LeMessurier realized something terrifying. They had only considered winds hitting the building head-on. They hadn't factored in corner winds, what engineers call quartering winds, which could twist the structure in ways it wasn't designed to handle. And then came the gut punch. Those diagonal braces, the ones carrying the load, they weren't welded as originally planned. They were bolted. Bolts, in some cases, can handle less tension than welds, especially when subject to dynamic, shifting pressure from wind. If LeMessurier's new calculations were right, his masterpiece could collapse in a strong storm. And hurricane season was just weeks away. Here he was, a respected engineer, alone with the knowledge that a single gust could turn Midtown Manhattan into a disaster zone. Tens of thousands of lives were at risk, his own career too. So what do? Stay silent? Hope for the best? Or blow the whistle on yourself? LeMessurier chose the hardest path. He told the truth. At night, under complete secrecy, welding teams entered the Citicorp Center. They stripped the drywall, exposed the braces, and began reinforcing every joint with thick steel plates, over 200 of them, while office workers above remained blissfully unaware. They called it Project Serene. But it was anything but. Just as repairs were underway, a hurricane began forming in the Atlantic. Her name was Ella, and she was headed north. By the time Ella was off the coast of North Carolina, the city was readying an evacuation of a 10-block radius. Citicorp staff had plans to monitor the building for stress fractures in real time. Police were ready to go door to door. And then, a miracle. Hurricane Ella turned east, veering out to sea at the last moment. Citicorp had been granted a reprieve. Repairs were completed quietly in October of that year. No lives lost, no buildings crushed, no headlines, at least not then. Incredibly, the whole thing remained a secret for nearly 20 years. When the truth finally emerged in a New Yorker article in 1995, LeMessurier wasn't shunned. He was praised. Because in an industry where pride can kill, he chose humility. He risked everything to fix a mistake that almost no one else would have caught. Today, his story is taught in engineering ethics classes around the world, and the Citicorp Center, now called 601 Lexington, is still standing. Every city has its secrets. Some are hidden underground, some buried in archives, and some are welded in the walls of a skyscraper. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.